Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing tonight? It's Saturday. Let's build a printer. So, Switchwire, corexz. Last week we left off. It was pretty much mostly mechanically assembled. We have to build the tool head. We need to run some belts, run some electrical stuff, put all the junk in the trunk. Let's see how far we get. That was everyone's new year. Hope everyone had a good new year. It is now the future again. But nothing's really changed yet. So, get the music going. Let's get building. So, where we left off? Well, here's our wonderful little CAD. So, last week we got pretty much everything done except for the tool head. Now, the tool head in the CAD here is the direct feed setup. And we are going to be running Voron on here. We're going to be running dual feed. Dual M4 extruders. I still need to print them, by the way. But we can build that. Now, as you know, we only have the CAD to work off of because, you know, it's a Switchwire, right? It's the one without the manual. So, unfortunately, like, there's no fancy manual that you can use to build these right now because there's only the CAD. And the manual isn't out there yet. So, like, I don't know what this is. It's a thing, so we can't really use it because it's not the manual because the manual's not done yet. So, I don't know what this is. So, yeah, I don't know what this is. I think my son got into the crayons in Microsoft Paint. I don't know what this is. So. Oh yeah, there is a manual now. If you need the manual, it's on the Discord Switchwire help section. It's pinned there. It's still technically in beta. It'll probably be pushed to the site whenever all the corrections are made. The future is now old man. I'm only 32. I'm not that old. I'm 33 this year. Then I'm starting to get worried. So, we have a manual. So since we have a manual, I can now follow the manual. A little late, about a week late, but we can kind of continue on where we left off. So we might as well do that. There you go. Raymond's saying about a week or so. So if you need the manual right now, this version is on the Discord. And probably in a week or so, it'll be pushed to the main site. It's just on the Discord right now for basically spelling review, essentially. So, we have our box of parts. Let's follow the manual, I guess. Dump out all the box of parts. Let's see, where are we at in the manual? So we gotta put some heat sets and some stuff. So yeah, let's do all the heat set stuff now. The heat set stuff's boring. So let's get it done out of the way so I can put this hot iron away. So we're gonna have to put some in there. We already got that part on. Oh, my instructions. Yay. Yes, yay. Unfortunately, I'm going to lose out on all the views now because it could have been, oh, hey, you need the manual? Just go watch the stream. So you probably can just watch the previous stream for the actual assembly. Just be aware the order of operations might be out a little bit now. Has Voron gone all Lego now and labeled the parts? I see You're on the B4 box. Well, you have to buy all the parts yourself unless you buy one of the unofficial kits. So if you want, you can put stuff in labeled boxes. Actually, let's see where the other camera's angled. It's angled over there. I still don't have the ceiling camera set up yet. This whole lockdown has kind of screwed over plans for what I want to do for the room. Unfortunately, I just can't go to Home Depot and buy anything right now. You have to buy it all online, and I'm not going to order random pieces of wood online. A little crooked. There we go. 220. Crayon Switchwire is looking great. It's Golf. It's the Golf racing colors. Crayon. You know, learn your racing history. Easy 3DP kit? No, there's some kits that you can buy online for like the parts and whatnot. For printed parts, I'd recommend going through, you know, PIF if you need them printed. Someone in the Discord recently got some parts from, I won't say the vendor, but the quality was definitely not worth it. So on this, we have heat sets on the front here. And I think that's it for that. Okay, so I think that's it for heat sets for now, so I can probably unplug this. David's here. Hello, David. If you need printer parts and you live in the US, Printed Solid. He'll hook you up. This is hot. I'll put that over here for now. And Maker Viking, hello. Have I considered making a heat set insert press? I've kind of thought about it, but I'm trying to like avoid extra stuff I don't really need. It's like, for example, tapping, right? If you've ever had to hand tap anything, there's a lot of people that use a jig or whatever, but I've hand tapped so many things over the years that I just eyeball it. And I think using like heat set inserts, once you do many Vorons worth, you just kind of get used to it and you can eyeball them pretty well. But yeah, all I did for mine was I took a conical tip. This is one of those cheapo soldering irons, but all I did was take the conical tip and just take the tip off of it so it's flatter. So it doesn't stick out past the end of the heat set. So when I push it in, it's not melting. It's not touching plastic. Is warping a concern for... I think I missed a question there. Okay, so let's see what the manual says. Because we're going to be referencing the manual now, because we have one. So, heat set nuts, put the micro switch in, put those in. Okay, so now for those that missed the very first stream, I had this all built and I took it apart, so I still have a lot of the old assembly here. So that way I don't have to look for screws because I have them all here. But yeah, I know like the one stream we spent like half an hour figuring out colors for this thing, and we made a good choice. Strip it all down and start off with following the manual. No. Yet. I will not be doing that. That's a little too much in my opinion. Three hours later, Nero's trying to get a square nut out of an old part. We don't use square nuts, we use hex nuts. And while I was getting stuff ready for tonight's stream, I was going through some stuff, and we might run into a hiccup later. We'll see. See how far we get and if it becomes an issue. Could you build this with Pt2? I know you guys don't like it, but could you if you wanted to? Honestly, out of all the Vorons, this one would probably be the most okay with non-ABS. If you don't enclose it. If you're going to enclose it, we recommend going ABS no matter what. But the forces on it aren't really quite as bad as some of the other ones. Ooh. I won't be able to reuse that. Shoot. The forces aren't quite up as much on it as like a traditional corexz. So you know what? You might be able to get by with Pt2 if you don't enclose it. But I still recommend using ABS because ABS is a better plastic, in my opinion. Especially for printed parts. Well, we don't have to worry because I got all the nuts out of it already. So, there we go. One of these days, I got 2 boxes of parts that are obsolete or old or garbage that I just need to sit down one day and take all the heat set inserts. And no, I'm not being lazy. I just don't want to do it. Okay, so yeah, that's gonna be a problem. Shoot. I'm gonna have to kill a DuPont connector or a microfit. The Prusa is Pt2 and people enclose those. Yes, they do, and I know a few people that have had melted parts on their Prusas after having it enclosed for a while. You gotta remember, with Pt2, if you look at like the label, yes, it can take higher temps than PLA, okay? The problem is you can't look at the chart like that game on Price is Right, right? You can go all the way up right to the very edge, and as soon as you go over the edge, it falls, right? So it's not that Pt2 fails at this temperature, that's its bad point, but as it gets towards its temperature, you'll start to see a loss of strength with Pt2. ABS is more straight and then it's a slope. PLA is just very short, where Pt2 is kind of like a hump if you look at it. Now, the problem you run into, and I've seen this on, I'm just going off parts I've seen on Vorons printed out of ABS, or correction, Pt2, is the issue you see is anything that has consistent loading force on it. So what that would mean would be like the front idler for here, for example, or anywhere where there's a lot of force on it all the time. So on the original like V1, the bed mounts. So you would have the screw go through a printed part, and then there would be a spring there for your bed leveling, right? And what would happen is even though you never really got to the glass transition point of Pt2, because it was always warm, it would start to, you would get pull through. You would get, the screws would start pulling through the plastic. So it wouldn't quite fail, but it would deform. So open air, it's fine. I personally like ABS. I like the mechanical properties of ABS much more. Again, somebody's gonna make a meme of this, but Pt2 is water bottles. But I don't know. I don't trust it enclosed for long periods because it will eventually fail. So, thoughts on polycarbonate? Polycarbonate is a great plastic. Personally, I'm a huge fan of ABS or PC ABS. The problem with polycarbonate is it degrades when exposed to oils and greases. So since our bearings are packed with grease, our rails are oiled or greased, there are locations on the printer where there is a chance it can get oil or grease contamination, which can cause it to degrade and fall apart. I know people have done PC parts and there's been issues with them in certain areas. Some areas it works just fine. So, geez. I'm gonna try and keep up with chat, but you guys are quick tonight. So 16 mil. So right now we are pre-installing our belt retainers there. So I've already gone ahead and put on the switch here. And you're going to want to put your wire in it right now. So solder your wire, then put the switch on. Because soldering it once it's attached is going to be a pain. And what is those? M316. M316. Now for, here, let me get one started and then I will show you here. Okay, there we go. So, for these guys, these are the retainers for your belts in the tool head. You'll notice it is offset. Okay, the hole is offset. So when you put it in, make sure the offset, the narrow part, is up. Okay, so the belts are going to come over the top here and go down. So the offset, the narrower gap is going to be on the top versus the bottom. Can I show routing the end stop wires? Yes, I'll do that once I get it kind of assembled here. AC bed on a CR10. I see the TiVo or Homer now. The problem is with an AC bed is high voltage. In my opinion, it's safer because you're not running the crazy high amps that you have to with a DC bed, especially 12 volt. But I don't like moving or rapid moving on AC lines. I don't think it's as safe. That's why this is a DC bed. Yes, remember to click the like button. I can't shill anything if nobody knows that I can shill stuff to an audience. Right? I'm still waiting on the Raid Shadow Legends hookup. I'm sorry, guys. I'm waiting on it. I'll get it one day. Okay, and now we M340s go all the way through with some nuts on the other side. And then these two screws up here, these are your index points. This is for your the hot end itself, the hot end carriage holder thingy. So don't put those in. And look, there's a little note about it right there. Am I going to be running the SKR Mini E3 on this build? I'm really curious about the wiring. I'm having issues getting my FISEC 12864 working. I'm going to be running an SKR 1.3. I already have it here because this is what I had in before. Remember, I'm running dual extruders on here, so I need 5-stepper motors. That's why. And I am going to be cheating because I still have the wiring loom. From previous, I saved the wiring loom and I'm going to be reusing it. There we go. Because we all know a whole stream of me just sitting here and crimping wires is thoroughly engaging. Okay, so what I recommend is don't actually reef this tight yet when you put it together, okay? Just have the screws a little bit loose because you're gonna want just a little bit of play to make sure you can get your probe in there. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the next step. Yeah. Okay, so the next step here is the probe. So cut the probe wires to about 15 centimeters. Don't cut them flush with the carriage frame. So what you're gonna do is I'm using the knockoff Voron from AliExpress. You don't need that much wire. And when you're putting stuff in the hot end, please don't use the wire that it comes with to run through the drag chains and everything. Like, don't be running this wire because you're like, oh, I have enough wire here. I don't need to put silicone or PTFE wire. Please use PTFE if you can. Wiring. I can just run this through the drag chain. Please don't. This stuff isn't rated for that. Same with your like hot end wire and whatnot. Your heater wire. Use properly rated wires. Don't cheap out. So, you have this little piece here, and then you got your probe. So you have, these are the wires for your end stop. And what they kind of do, there's a channel here, and you kind of run them through this channel so they sit, kind of get pushed in by the probe. And it's kind of like this is the part where you need like 3 hands. But they run through there, and then it all runs up through this hole here. Okay? And then there's a little channel on top here for them to come out. Ah, come on. There we go. And it looks kind of like, you can see the wires kind of come up there, so that way you can move your probe up and down and not pinch your end stop wires, and then behind they're just kind of like there. So they're just running up. You'll see it better once it's all together. It's easier when you're doing it yourself. And then let's see here. So it's M320s, but if you're using the Voron probe, which I am, it's M325. Because this probe is fat. And then what I recommend for this little guy here, okay, this is the little part it screws to. Make sure you have it so that the part that's touching your bed is up, okay? So that way you have this little rad here, and that way it doesn't like bind up in the corners here. Or if you do like me where you have a little bit extra smush, it doesn't like bind up. Because you want to be able to move it. You need to adjust your probe a little bit. this is gonna be fun. Three-hand part. Once you get one started, you're good. There we go. There we go. Okay. Oop. Myron Powell, thanks for the subscription. There we go. So just tighten it up and then back it off a little bit. So you still want to be able to move it. Okay. Because you are going to have to like line it up to its final position. So let's take a look here at the wire. So if you take a look, the wires for the end stop have to pretty much come right out and go down into this little trench right away. Okay, so take that in mind when you're soldering them, because you need room for the little plastic part to move up and down to adjust your probe height. Okay, and then that's it. And then this big open void right here, this is what attaches to your carriage. And that is that. So what I'm actually going to do, I have my wires so that the end stop wires are in front of this guy because it's thicker. So when you go to put it onto your X carriage, you don't pinch them. So it'll look like that. There we go. Okay, let me take a look at chat here. So the consensus now is to use PTFE over silicone. I've been thinking of getting some of the parallel silicone wires for the next printer. So the reason we recommend the PTFE over the silicone, they work. It's just the outer surface is softer. Silicone is softer than PTFE. So what happens is especially on your drag chains, like I use like the China chains, so the injection molding isn't really as smooth. And what can happen is if you get like a rough spot where you can feel it, like if you run your hand through the China ones, they're not exactly smooth. What can happen is that eventually after, wearing for several hundred hours, you'll eventually wear through the silicone. You can get around that in a couple ways. You can put a sleeve, like some sort of, like put the wires through like a cable sleeve and then put that in the drag chain. Or you can do what I do and just slather the hell out of it with PTFE grease. I might do the chain, we'll see. So I don't need that right now. Okay, so let's see what's next on the manual. So we have this part assembled. We have the X carriage plate installed already. Okay, so now we attach that with M312s. And for those that don't know, you can't see it right now, but I have a pile of all the screws that were in this originally. And instead of doing a stream where I spent the whole stream putting them away, I just kind of left the pile. So that's what I'm doing when I'm looking for screws. So this basically should fit right on. There we go. Just like that. And then it screws in. Will you be going over how to wire the rest of the printer even though you already have that set up before? I'll be running all the wires. It's just I already have the ends, like everything crimped on them. Like all the wires are. Like here's the hot end loom. Like this is all the wires that go from the tool head to underneath. I already have the whole loom made up. So all you're missing out is me cutting, crimping, and stripping wires. So I'm going to be running everything. It's just I already have it pre-made, right? Think of it like a cooking show, right? I put it in the oven and then I magically have one ready to pull out of the oven. Okay, so what I've done now is I have the 4 screws that attach to the carriage in, but they are not tight. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and tighten in the screws that hold the 2 halves of this carriage together. And then I'm going to go ahead and tighten these 4. This will hopefully make sure everything is now lined up properly, because you don't want like the 2 halves being cocked or anything. There we go. And these wires just kind of come out the side here. But we'll get to that later. Yes, I am using silicone wires because I already have them. Vincent Palmer, thank you for becoming a subscriber. How to smoke a brisket using magic smoke. That was only the one stream. Okay. So it looks like we are running our belts now, according to the manual, which kind of makes sense. Right now, there's the least amount in the way. So we are going to be running our belts. So let me zoom in here. So belt path. There you go. And it's basically the belts are corexz. Now, for those that don't know, the belt path on this is pretty much the exact same as the original Vorons, like the original V 1.0 to 1.5. We don't talk about 5.5. So the belts pretty much, you know, you could. There's some close-up pictures here, so you can kind of see how they're run. But essentially, you got 2 tiers of the belt. So we are going to run our belts right now. So let's see here. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, I have the belts. So what I recommend is, if you have them, is the little binder clips. And I'm hoping I have some somewhere. Unless I lost them when I moved rooms. No, I still have them. So what I use the binder clips to kind of hold my belt while I'm running the belts, holding the end. So that way I don't accidentally pull it through, right? Because, you know, you're constantly pulling on the belt. This way you don't pull it through. And it just kind of holds on to it until you're done. So what I do is the belts, you got your tooth side and your untoothed side, right? On this one, you're going to be running it. You start at the tool head, tooth up, okay? So you feed one side just down into your like down through the gap where the holder block is. And then you just start running it across. I start with the ones closer to the front. That way you're not trying to reach over an already run set of belts. And you just start running it. It's corexz. Now, the manual, for some reason, shows installing the key back after running your belts. Personally, I think you should have this installed first, so your gantry doesn't flop all over the place while you're doing this, right? Because right now the gantry just stays where it stays because I have the key back in. So personally, I would put your key back in before installing the belts. Motor. And there we go. That's one done. The small cam and the big cam are the same right now. Well, the small cam's right here. This is just closer. corexz, corexz. It's core. So the only thing is I'm hoping I didn't screw myself here because I'm reusing the belts. And I'm hoping I didn't trim them too short. Otherwise, I'm going to have a bad time. But there's ways around that. And yes, you are tooth in on all the bearings. There's no tooth idlers in this guy. Okay. And there's the second belt. Is the print bed on this a mic 6? No, this is just the bed on this guy is literally Mark 52. It's the Prusa bed basically. Oh, that's power supply stuff. Why do I have power supply stuff out? I wonder how hard it'd be to move the motors completely inboard. You'd either change the belt path and eat into the X width, or you need more pulleys to route the belt diagonally underneath. Pretty much, like right now with the bed on, the bed will be on later so you can see how much clearance there is. But if you move it in, it gets really, really close. You have to either move the bed up or something. And you still need the tensioner, so it would move. I know it was looked into, but unfortunately it's like a lot of work for very little to no gain, I believe. So what I'm going to do right now is tighten this guy so that these sides are equal. so that one's good there. And also right now, just touching back from the stream last week, my motors are up. You could adjust the position of the motors. That's how you tension the belts. Right now, my motors are up all the way. So when I go to tighten the belts, I have the most amount of room to pull the motors down to adjust the belt tension. And I know this part's going to be a pain because I cut these belts short. This is much easier to do when you have longer belts, I will say. Okay, that's one. Get in your home. Okay, one belt. Put the binder clip on so I don't lose it. You'd have to redesign the X gantry as well. Correct. You'd also have to redesign this whole idler, basically everything, because everything would have to shift in as well. Because right now these belts are right at the very edge, so you'd have to basically shrink everything in, so you'd lose a lot of room. Will I do the Nylock mod in the bed if I'm rebuilding it? I haven't even looked at what the Nylock mod is, because I just use the generic spacers, like the M4 spacers that everyone uses on the V2 bed, and that worked fine for me. So I'm not sure what the Nylock mod is. Okay, there we go. So I have both belts in now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is have them on the same level. I'm pretty sure I cut both these belts the same length, I think. Maybe I did not. I don't know. I'll just pull up tight, and then we'll just play with the racking after. There we go. Okay. So belts are tight, like they're clamped in right now. Actually, just that ain't sitting right. There we go. Okay. So you're going to go through at this point now, after your belts are run, and make sure everything is lined up. Make sure none of your belts are sitting on like the flange of a pulley, for example. I got one right here. Fix that. That one's good there. That one's good there. Motors aren't hooked up to anything, so feel free to, you know, move it around. And right now everything's pretty loose. So I'm going to go ahead now and check my 20-tooth gears. So right now you may have to move your 20-tooth gear on the motors. You may have to shift them slightly to make sure everything's lining up straight with your belt path. You don't want the belts on like a crazy angle or anything. So let's take a look here. Okay, so this one I'm going to have to move inboard just a little bit. out. And look at the belts and the spacing with everything as you move the gantry up and down. You want to make sure everything's as square as possible. You're also going to want to check for racking and binding. Well, not racking at this point, but you're going to be looking for binding at this point. Actually, make sure I take that one too. Okay. Now this one I know is out, yeah. This one's out big time. There we go. You don't see the advantage of the core system here. Z doesn't need speed, and there are a few real disadvantages. So in terms of Z doesn't need speed, I believe the Eiffel Tower standard size model is 1,000,000 something Z hops. If you can cut down the time of each Z hop by, 80% or down to 20% of what it is on a traditional printer, that does save time. I run Z hop on all my prints with like 0.1 or 0.8 millimeter Z hop heights. I really don't want my nozzle hitting stuff when it moves across a plate full of ABS parts and knocking something off or stalling or causing any defects. So if you're running a lot of Z hop, it does make sense there. 2, it's cheaper than integrated lead screws. You don't need 2 integrated lead screws. Plus, on a you're saving a motor too. You only need 2 motors for the X and Z versus 2 Z motors and then an X motor. It's cheaper, less motors. It's simpler. And you don't need to worry about Z lead screw wobble at all. It also lets you have a lighter gantry because there's no motor in the gantry unless you go with a direct feed setup. Okay, there we go. So I'm happy there. So at this point, I'm going to go and retighten my belts by hand again. Because after this, the only belt tightening you'll be able to do is with the motors. There we go. So we still have a little bit of play there, but that's fine. Because any other racking or loose belts at this point, or racking, which you can't fix racking until you get the bed on, because you're going to de-rack to the bed, not to the frame. So we'll be doing the final tighten later, I believe. Let's check the manual. So we have all that. The key back's already installed. Again, the manual says put the key back on after running the belts. I say do it first. So your gantry just kind of stays in position. And now we're putting the tool head together. Awesome. Well, Core YZ would be this printer, but sideways. And then you have YZ. Also, something that a lot of people don't realize is when you're running corexz and you're running bed mesh leveling, it is quieter than lead screws. If you ever listen to a printer with lead screws doing a bed mesh, you get that because the motors are constantly adjusting. When you're doing corexz and you're doing a bed mesh, it's the same thing as a corexy printer printing on a diagonal or just printing a curved object, right? So your motors are always moving. So your noise level is pretty much the same with or without a bed mesh. So these run quieter with a bed mesh than a lead screw system because it's literally just doing what your corexy printer does when it prints a curve, essentially. So let's build a tool head. Aha. Now I should have been smart and taken the little bit of plastic out of this, but I didn't, so I'm going to leave it in for now. Because I literally could reuse this for the Dragonfly, but I have a maybe I didn't print the new one. Did I print? I could have sworn I printed the new one. Oh, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. It's right here. There we go. Oh yeah, I got the, there we go. Cutters. So the hot end we're going to be reusing because I do want to try it with dual extrusion because I didn't get around to doing that before the rebuild. Is the Fetus Dragonfly, and this is the BMO variant. And this one doesn't have printing parts. So let's see here. So I need to turn this now because goes there. Yep. Okay, so that goes there. There we go. Okay. So there is now tool heads specifically for the Dragonfly. You know, you really could just use any Dragon tool head. This one is kind of a little bit different because it has the actual orientation for the screws are slightly off. They're not square. They're on like a 45. Oops, somebody messaged me. Dragon Hide? No, this is a Dragonfly. I'm pretty sure I have the description saying this is corexz. Do I have it saying corexy in the description? It's corexz. Yeah, if you don't use the key back, the gantry will crash down. You need... The gantry is held up by the key back. Like, there is a little bit of the gearing with the motors and tension and whatnot holding it up a little bit, but the key back right here acts as a counterweight for the gantry. And while not common in 3D printers because our gantries are so light, pretty much every CNC machine uses a counterweight for the Z motion. It's super common in CNC. Oop, I forgot to put a... more heat sets. So it's not exactly a new thing, it's just not common in 3D printing because our gantries are so light. Technically, you should always have a counterweight for your Z, because if you can counterweight any weight off the Z, your motors run better because they're doing less work. Like, think about it, the motors would be peak efficient if they were moving zero mass, but unfortunately things weigh stuff. Yeah, the keyback is on Amazon, pretty much worldwide, from what I can understand. A while ago, we were looking for an Ali source, just for those that can't get Amazon products. And I don't think we found an alternative, but basically, it's a key retainer. As long as you can have something that could take about 13 ounces of weight off the gantry, you're good. And always make sure your heat sets are flush or below the surface. How much does the Switchwire cost as a whole? You can build one from scratch cheaper than you could buy a Prusa Mark III. That's what the price was last I looked. Go. Don't touch anything, you're hot. Yeah, good enough. Okay, back to work. Part printed a little close to the bed. I got a little bit of flash I gotta trim. Have I seen the $35 TS100 clone with USB-C barrel jack as well as a RISC MCU? I have not, but the thing is, like, I already have my TS100, so why would I buy another soldering iron? Like, I only need the one. Okay, get out. I don't like the USB-C though. I'd rather just have the barrel jack because I power mine directly off of a 24-volt power supply. So it being USB-C, I wouldn't need a USB-C connection. Someone needs to print a soldering iron. I do have a soldering iron stand for my TS100. It's in the other room still on the shelf. I gotta grab it, but I do have one. Uh-oh. I lost one of my little screws. Crud. One second. No. Aha. Okay, and now I need a little zip tie. Uh-oh. Oh no, I'm all out of my little zip ties. I might have one. There we go. Brian B, $6.99 for the little zip tie budget. Thank you, appreciate it. Now I just gotta grab some more from the store. Okay, so we have that guy done. Actually, I forgot to put these screws in. Do that right now so I don't forget. Now these screws right here, these are the indexing screws for the tool head. So let's see what the manual says and see if it has my little tip in it. So we have put the tool head together. Okay, so the tool cartridge, the Voron tube, and then it has put it on. Okay. Yeah, so it has install it now. Okay. So what you're going to do at this point is you're going to take your tool cartridge and you're going to put it into the printer. Okay. And it should hold itself under friction. Okay. And then you're going to tighten your indexing screws till they touch and then back off like half a turn. And then you're going to want to take your tool head off and then put it back on again and make sure everything lines up and there's enough play there that it's not binding. So you can easily put them in, take them out. If you got to tighten them up, you can tighten them up, a little bit more if you want to make sure it's good to go. Don't over tighten them, but you want to make sure that you can easily plop it in, take it out if you need to. There we go. And then M340s, attach it. How's the Galileo working out? I haven't put it together yet. The Galileo is going to go in Toasty Boy. So it's still sitting in the bag. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. Unfortunately, this vacation hasn't panned out as much as I had hoped in terms of productivity. Yay, Rona. Ryan Thorpe, howdy. Howdy, partner. Please tell me you're still streaming for a while. It's only 9 o'clock, so at least for another hour and a half, 2 hours. So, at this point, we build the clockwork. Now, again, afterburner is the toolhead assembly. The part we just put together with the toolhead cartridge. The extruder in the afterburner is called the clockwork. Everyone always gets all these mixed up, but the toolhead assembly is called an afterburner. The extruder is called a clockwork. That's why the one on the V0 is called a pocket watch, because it's a smaller clockwork. So, this whole section of the manual we're going to skip, because we are going direct feed. Or correction, Bowden. So, Bowden. And there are two setups for Bowden, okay? You can either print the one piece, which is right here, and then it's got a little piece that slides in here with a collet, and this basically is how big the clockwork is, and it just, you put it in where the clockwork goes. Or, we got the dual feed, because that's what we're going to be running. So, we're going to put this together, which means I need more heat set inserts. I never put enough heat sets in these. Dang it. Always forget the heat sets. Always forget the heat sets. Yeah, that goes there. Should do a three-way splitter. No. Yeah, I seen the like MMUs and whatnot. The thing is, like, I had this set up for multi-material for dual extrusion for months, and I think I printed like 4 things successfully on it. Because personally, I don't need multi-material that much. Like, I don't print a lot of like knick-knack random stuff. I do have some hips. I was going to try some hips in ABS. But, yeah. I'm going to have to clean that one out. Shoot. Okay, now I got to flip it, and then there's 2 more on the inside. If you want a Nero apron, they're on Amazon. I just bought this off Amazon. Although Adam Savage actually has his own apron now, and I kind of want that one, but this one works just fine. I got no reason to go buy another apron. I've already embossed it with my logo, and you know what? It's actually held up pretty damn well, I will say. Like, it's still there. So. Need a big work mat. I would like a work mat. I was looking at like just buying one of those cheap computer ones. The problem is, it's pretty much got to be the cutting board material because it's got to be able to withstand heat and not get all bunched up when you're moving stuff around on. Like my bed or my table right now. So this table I built as a reloading bench. So it's 2x6s, 2x8s, 4x4s. This bench is solid. I still got a bolt to the wall. But for the tabletop, it's just plywood. But what I did was I got a bunch of 24 by 24 inch stick-on linoleum tiles. So it's basically a floor. So it's like I could beat the hell out of it. Like I don't mind if I accidentally drill through something into it. It's basically linoleum tile on this. So it's not perfectly flat. It's got a texture to it too. So stuff doesn't slide all over the place. So I kind of actually like this setup. But it's boring. It's flooring. So for the dual extruder on this guy, set this camera back up on its little pivot, or the dual extruder. For the dual feed, you have the two halves, and they basically screw together like that. And then you have two collets going in, and then underneath. So, we got our, and these use the little TL collets. Now this one right here, if you need a tip, I got a heat set insert here, but it actually goes through to the other side, okay? And what happened was when I put the heat set in, I melted plastic. So if I were to try and put in a screw from this side, it wouldn't work. So what you do, just to clear those out, you put a screw in through the side with the heat set, and you just run it through a few times, and that kind of cleans it up. The bench should be a darker color. I didn't build this bench for this. Like, this bench is like 3 years old now. So I may resurface it at that one point. Like, I did put 2x8 to spread it out from the wall right now. Because before, like, my Acro Mills bin here and all this stuff was on the bench. So I have more room on the bench now. So I may resurface it with like a single piece thing. Yeah, I might go a little bit darker. I like it being a little bit light though, because you see stuff better. Like if you drop a screw, for example. There we go. Okay. So now I need a bunch of screws to hold this together. That's too long. Thing is, I don't know what the screw sizes for this are. That's not how to tap a hole. I'm not tapping a hole. I'm clearing out plastic that got into a blind hole. I know how to tap a hole. I could have dropped so many your mama jokes there, but gotta be good for the YouTube. Gotta appease the algorithm. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this goes like that. So you guys gotta come up now, come out. Nope, that don't go. No, maybe that. No, that don't go there. How does this go? This actually would attach there. Yeah, because that goes there. Then the fan. Yeah. Okay. It's been a while since I've only put this together like once before. So we can skip to the fans. Big fans of the fans. Oh, hey, look. It's done, but it's in the wrong color, so we gotta fix this. Yeah, because this goes there, yeah. And then this goes there. And then this goes in there. Yeah. There we go. So that's how it looks like all stacked up. So let me take this apart now. And then I forgot that there's probably going to be more heat sets that I didn't put in yet. Crud. Did I forget a printed part? That comes out. You come out of there. There we go. Okay. I forgot to print a part. Are you serious? Did I forget? I forgot a part. I am missing a part. Unless I put it in the bin. No, I didn't put it in the bin. Ah, dang it. I am missing the part the 4020 fan goes in. Is there a modded exhaust housing for 2.4 for the Y-splitter hot end? I believe so now. Yeah, I think there is now. Check box A2. Maybe it's under the bottom flap. Yep, because this is done. Let me check the garbage. Wait, I accidentally bin it. Nope. Looks like I'm gonna have one random black part in this printer. At least for now. I can swap it out later. I'll swap it out later, but so we got the random black part that holds the 4020. God damn it. Can't believe I forgot that. I'm not happy. I am not happy about that. F. Yep. F in the chat, everyone. F in the chat. It's right on the table, light blue. Where? Well, it wouldn't be light blue. It's an accent part. It would be orange. And it isn't this. So these are what I need. This is all I have left. That's all I have left. Yeah, I don't have it. Print and move to the bottom. Well, it is a file. Well, actually, it'd probably be because of ABS cool times and whatnot. You know, I'm not doing speed benching on it. It would be probably like a half hour, 45-minute print. The problem is that guy still has the high flow in it, so nothing's set up for it. And this guy doesn't even have a tool head in it right now because I ripped the tool head out to put in V24 or in 26. So we'll just have one black part for now, and I'll just swap it out later. No biggie. Is only cosmetic. Ooh, Jan Tramal, $5. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Okay, so for those that don't know, the part that holds the little pivoting fan part is just PTFE. So I need to find some plastic. Oh, hey, look, plastic. So what you do, put a nice 45 on it, and you just feed it through. Make sure everything lines up. And then what I do is I feed it through all the way so it fits out both ends. Snip one end, push it in a bit. Snip the other end, push it in just a tad, and boom. Done. Print it on the bonsai. It's not even hooked up right now. That's the power supply. Like here's the tool head for V26. And then V0. Here's the lead through for V0. So we're not doing any printing right now. Everyone leave if near. If you want me to print it, literally the rest of the stream will be me staring at a printer. Because by the time I get everything set up, it's going to be 11. So, for this portion here, because this is hollow, you don't have a clockwork. You have no coming out the side. You don't have the tumor on the side of the tool head to hide all your wires. So what you do is you run all your wires through here, and they come out the back, and then you just hide it all in the little cubby hole behind it. Actually, these probably aren't 40 mil. How long is this? Is this a 35 millimeter part? Or a 35 millimeter screw? Let's see. No, that is. Don't, you always say you don't need another printer. I have so many. That's why you need another printer. Having another printer doesn't solve me from having the time to put them all back together. V0 lost its lead screw because V0.1 has flying Z. Conspiracy man wearing tinfoil hat looking sadly at camera. .gif. That ain't it. Where is... I am missing screws. What size is this? 35. Why would I have 35? Yeah, whatever, that works. Okay. How long should the PTFE tube from the hot end part should be? You could check the CAD, but I believe it's only like, I think it's 28 millimeters, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Ooh, that's too long. Shoot. Screw too long. Yeah, like the little nub in here is only like 28 millimeters, I believe. It's not super long. I'm realizing right now I'm gonna have to take this all off again, but okay, so that's that. That's what she said, yes. And a whole batch of parts for this guy that I did on the orange that were just a little too smushed into the bed, but I was too lazy to fix them. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so now... Where's that screw? Okay, that screws into there, that screws into there. I didn't even screw into anything. It makes no sense. What is that? Oh, geez, really? No, that ain't right. Did I miss more heat sets on this? 1 second. Fifth grade elephant foot. See, the parts have the little chamfer on the bottom, so you don't have to worry about elephant foot. Oh, I see. Okay, so that goes there. So this screws onto that. Ooh, okay, I get it. I get it. I gotta put some more. Gosh darn dang it. Can you say that? Good morning, Amadeus. I'm building a Voron Switchwire. Talk to Russian cat food and tell them to either do a Voron SLS or DLP. No. I don't think any of like the designers want to go into designing an SLS, because honestly, it's a Z with a camera phone, or a camera a phone screen underneath. Like, I don't think you can DLY good SLS the same way you can DLI good FDM. So that goes there. Then I got 3 more here. I'm just gonna put all the brass thingamajigs in right now. Yes, likes Jan saying there's 63 likes and 174 watching. So like that smash button. God, this thing uses so many of these heat sets. All the heat sets are good, but they're great. Laughing hysterically. Yeah, because honestly, like, I think live streaming is going to be like the next Kind of like, you know, the heyday of being a YouTube like content creator was probably about 5 years ago. Like trying to go into YouTube now to be an actual like, hey, I make videos on YouTube is honestly like, I won't say dumb, but fool's chance. Whereas if you try to go into it being like, hey, I'm going to do videos, but I'm going to stream a lot, I think streaming has a much better, I won't say career path, but like return on time investment, put it that way, than doing dedicated videos. Because if I was just doing the videos, there would be no way in hell I'd be able to do half the stuff I'm doing now. In terms of like the amount of money I've had to invest into things. Okay, any other ones I could put a heat set into before I forget? Yes, 2 more. Yeah. Nope, come on. Come on. Dang it. Too much heat. Oh, that's why I got bumped up. Oh, come on, stay in your hole. There you go. Still need to build a following on YouTube. Yep. And honestly, like, I talk to people at work. It's like, oh yeah, I stream and whatnot. And buddy's like, oh yeah, I stream Fortnite and I have like 3 people watch my video at most. And I'm like, oh, I do random printer tutorial videos and I have like 100-ish people. And it's like, what? And it's like, because you need something, because if you just turn on your camera and start streaming, how's anyone going to find you? So the videos help. And that's why I still do the videos, because I know a lot of people, the videos help a lot of people. Plus I like doing them, they're fun. But you're going to have to look at it like a double-edged, videos drive people to you, and then you can provide the streams to them. Ha, ha. Okay, so we go like that. And this is probably a 40 mil, I bet. Nope, that's a 30, I believe. Nope, that's not even a 30, that's a 25. Did I tell my coworkers about my OnlyFans? They're half the people on my OnlyFans. If you haven't, make sure you go to onlybenchies.com. With climate lockdowns coming next. Honestly, like, I have been stuck inside for the past week. And not because, oh, it's holidays. It's, no, my son's daycare had a exposure because somebody who works there had tested positive. So because of that, my son was in the same cohort as the instructor or teacher. So he's quarantined. My son got called, well, he's 2. So we got called from the health unit saying, hey, guess what? Your son has to quarantine for 2 weeks. So I've spent, if he's quarantined, like, yeah, technically me and my wife were okay to go out, but we're not going to. Because, like, we have a, he's 2 years, 9 months. Where can we go without him? We can't leave him home alone. We can't have anyone watch him. Everything's closed. So, yeah, we've been pretty much stuck at home for the past week, which sucks. That might be... Oh, no. That's screwing in? No, that's not screwing in. I'm gonna need 40 mils for that. That's a long one. Okay, so make sure you don't pinch your wires when you put this part in. This would be your clockwork actually at this point. I need a 40, M340. No, 40s. Do I have more 40s? That's 35. Am I missing a screw? Am I going to be one screw short? Yeah, I'm going to be one screw short, damn it. Crud. Okay, so you go in there. That gets tight. Yep, so that's 35. So 35 is too short. Actually, no, maybe, is there enough? No. Dang it. Crud. I don't want to have to cut down a screw again. I can't believe I gotta do this again. No. So I took everything apart and now I'm putting it back together and somehow I lost a screw. Trying to think, where might I have a formula? Aha! We're good. I found two. We're good. Could do a live stream on how to put clipper on an old PC or netbook. I don't really see the point in doing that because then you also have to have the PC or netbook constantly online while the printer is running. And using like a Pi is just, you know, it's a better dedicated platform because you can run it directly off, you know, a Pi Zero can run directly off of an SKR, for example. And power efficiency and cost-wise, it makes more sense in the long run, I think. Okay, so that's that. Now, I'm going to put this on right now, but it's going to come right off. But I just want to give you so you can see how it looks. Then there we go. So that is the direct feed tool head. So at this point, where did I know I had, I just got flying. I like the idea you're using old equipment. Well, you could. It would just be, you would just have to, essentially, I believe you would just have to, you know, recompile, like not compile, but install whatever distro of Linux, and then just run all the commands that you would need to install Clipper and whatever front end you want, Moonraker or whatever. Like I do have some old hardware, like laptops and whatnot, but maybe I'll put it on my list of ideas to do. But it might be there for a while, unfortunately. Yeah, you can always use the Kyo installer, which I just use the one-click installs for like Mainsail and Octoprint, or Mainsail and Fluid, because Fluid now supports, I haven't updated to it, but they now support updating all the different dependencies, like, you know, Fluid, Moonraker, Clipper, with a one-click button for updating everything directly in Fluid. So once you install it once, you never have to install it again. What's up, Raymond? Colorful combo. Yeah, you know what? And one black piece. That's gonna irk me. Luckily, it's easy to swap out. I'll swap it out. I'll print a new one off. But yeah, that's gonna annoy the hell out of me now. God damn it. Oh well. What can you do? It is what it is. Okay. So, I don't know what this is for. Oh yeah, I need a piece of filament. Because I need to show something off. Shouldn't be using my orange filament because I don't have so little of it left. Okay, so if you want to use the dual feed extruder or dual feed Bowden setup, you can do that. It's no problem. However, when you go to print the actual two halves for it, you have to print it at a 0.1 layer height, okay? If you don't print it at a 1.1 layer height, filament doesn't feed through it. It's that tight of a tolerance. Trying to find a piece of Bowden to make sure I can line it up. Yeah, where'd my knife go? Okay, so you got your Bowden in there, you got your filament. If you don't print at 0.1 layer height, it don't go in. Too tight. It is super critical that you print it at 0.1 layer height. So, let's wire this guy up now. So, where'd my probe go? Get this around. Yeah, I have to reprint that part. Because right now, like if I take it out, let's see here. I'm going to have to take this all apart anyways to get the wires through. So I might be doing the bed wiring instead of the hot end wiring today. Because, what time is it now? Yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock. There's no way I'm going to finish all the wiring tonight. So I might do it over 2 nights. Okay, now this comes apart here. Give me a chance to reprint the parts I need to reprint. Yep. So yeah. So see, now the filament feeds through just fine. But when you compress that bottom part, when you screw it all together nice and tight, it binds right up. So unfortunately, it's just one of those things you're gonna have to make sure you do, is the 2 halves. If you are doing the Y splitter, this is only a thing if you're doing the Y splitters, you have to print them at 0.1. I thought I did actually. I'm pretty sure I did print these at 0.1, so I'm not sure why they aren't working. But I know the binding issue that I have is exactly what happens when you don't print them at 0.1. So it is what it is. So with this off, I'm going to take this chance right now to do the crimping on these wires, so I have more room to do them. So we have our end stop, and then we got our probe. And then for the probe length, yeah, right about there. That'll do. You can see the front instead of the belts. Sure. All I'm doing is yeah, all I'm doing right now is putting the connectors on. Hope I don't screw up the wires on this guy. Whew. Okay, I'm always paranoid when I strip the sleeving on this that I like cut the brown, blue, or black wires inside. Yep, so now we move on to the crimping portion. I'm going to get these done, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and do the bed stuff. Because with having to reprint some parts here, I don't want to go too far on doing the head up, the tool head, because I'm going to have to redo it. Who knows, maybe during the week I'll try and squeeze in a daytime stream before I head to work, maybe to wrap it up. We'll see. See what I got for time. Tear it down and do a cyberpunk theme. No. Unfortunately, these aren't as easy to rebuild as computers. Oop, missed there. Okay, so let's see. So I have, what colors are these? Make sure they're the same. So blue, black, brown. Blue, black, brown. There we go. So that's that. Now I need to put 2 on the other end, which they need to be female. Yeah, it's a female connector. I love the part of the stream where I look over and there's 150 people watch me crimp wires. Like, I know it's that exciting, guys, but... If it gets too exciting, I could always sort screws on stream. Wouldn't be the first time. Wire crimping is my kink. Well, in that case, make sure you check me out on Only Benchies as well. And while there, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that other stuff that I'm supposed to say. Join my Patreon. I put videos that are like 2 years old of unreleased Voron stuff on there. So if you want to see, like, the last one I put up there was a test of the original V0Z system, if somebody wants to take a look at it. Okay. So that goes there. Now we put this back on. So those wires can go there. So for now, I'm just not going to torque these down to all high heaven so that the filament still moves through. Oh, you know what? I'm a dummy. I am a dummy. I am a dummy. Pop that out. Oh, I'm a dummy. Yeah, of course, of course. So here I am thinking that I accidentally printed it at 0.2 layer height instead of 0.1, where if you don't, if you remember earlier back, I have a piece of filament still in the hot end. That's why it wasn't going through. Duh. Speaking of though, gives me a good chance to make sure do something I didn't do earlier, and that was set the height of my probe, because right now the probe is way too high. So what I do is slide your probe down, pretty much as low as it goes. Put your hot end cartridge in, and then what you're going to do is you're going to slide your probe up until it is, I don't know, a millimeter or two above nozzle Z height. Yeah, that seems about good. And then tighten it down. There we go. Unscrew the nozzle. Nah, I'll just wait till I get it heated up, and then I'll just push it through. No biggie. And then if it doesn't come out, then I'll deal with heating up the nozzle. See, my viewer, I went up to 160, so that totally did. I just gotta screw up more. You guys like when I mess up, don't ya? Okay. So, where is my wiring loom? So I have, because there's no, let me go back to this camera. There we go. So because this doesn't have the tumor on the side of, you know, the wire shroud, I have just the 4 wires for the hot end and the thermistor come out the side here. And everything else tucks in behind, right? So what I do is, I think it's about there. So let's plug that in for now. Okay. And then I take my fan shroud. So we got the 40-20 fan and the 40-10 fan. Those go through the other side here. And then you'll notice there's a little notch here on the side, and your wires, all 4 of them, if you make sure they're not all bunched up, fit through that perfectly. we go. So now, you know, if I need to change the hot end, I can just undo these wires right here, just undo the microfit, and boom, done. Take that off, and then when I'm done, put the new one on. There you go, one connector, done. It looks relatively clean, it's good enough. Now we take all this. I know, I'm gonna reprint it, don't worry, I'll reprint the part if I remember to. So let's spin this guy around. Don't pinch the wires. And now we have the rest here. So, got my end stop, my probe, whatever fan this is, because I painted them with markers so that I knew which one went to which, and then whatever fan this is. And then all these have this nice little cubby hole back here that you can kind of stuff everything into when you go to do your cable management. Just kind of jam it all in. Because you don't see behind the printer. It's easier once you have the thing on. So, drag chain time. Second black part. What second black part? Oh yeah, this part. I don't have the. I looked at. I didn't save the older revision of this part. So this is like a beta part that I need to keep using, unfortunately. I should join one of the at DB3D Dan shoot the shit stream. Shot the shit. Maybe I want to start having like people on this stream. At some point, like, I don't know, like just Voron crew guys or really anyone, I don't care, just for fun. Okay, so that goes there. So I want the other end, I think. Yeah. So what I did was I printed the little end stops in the accent color. Or not the end stops, the little wire retainers in the accent color because, yeah, why not? So now I need to find all these little itty bitty screws to hold these on. Ah, I've already lost one. Get back here. That over there, that over there. Find my Allen keys that I've already lost, or at least the one I need. Wage? No, we don't. The screen button isn't black, it's transparent PLA, because I want the light to go through it. So I probably will be keeping that. Did I miss something there? Wonder how Eddie is in person. He just seems, he is happy. Eddie's a nice guy. Come on if you want non-Voron rep wrap printers. Maybe. I don't know. I'm still kind of fretting that because right now the problem is my timetable. Like, I know Saturday nights isn't exactly the greatest time for a lot of people, unfortunately. But it's like the only time that works for me right now. Fortunately, I don't make enough money off of YouTube to quit my current day job, so I still have to do things that kind of eat up a lot of time. How much of the cost of the Voron Switchwire? It is cheaper to build a Voron Switchwire than it is to buy a Prusa Mark III kit. Put it that way. Well, he is Eddie the engineer, so I'm assuming he is one of those electrical type people. Why did I have so much slack on this one? Okay, so that goes there. I remember, I think I had it come up and over, yeah, because that won't... Yeah, so I got plenty of room there. Okay, so I had it come up and over. That's how I had it last time. So all this crap jam into there. And then this comes up and over and into the drag chain. Okay, so what I'm going to do... Jim Sellers, $5. Thank you, man. Why aren't my notifications popping up on... Oh, I turned off alerts. There we go. Jim Sellers. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Happy New Year to you, too. Hope everyone had a good New Year. I'm going to be back. This is going to sound horrible. I'm going to go get the grease. Hey, come here. Come here. Oh. Hey, up, up, up. Oh, I took a bite. Oh. Oh, kisses. Look, look. What's this? Okay, goodbye. He knocked over everything. I missed one. Brian B, hello Jim, hello. Puppy, yes, that was Coda. If you're running silicone wires, PTFE grease gives them extra life. Puppy Chow fun. No, we are good. I stocked up at Costco, man. Thank you though, but he's good on Puppy Chow for a while. Nurq, $5 for the doggo. He is a good doggo. He is a good boy. Actually, oop, I forgot the brush. One second. Hopefully I didn't throw that out. I don't think I threw it out. Maybe I threw it out. I threw out the brush. Okay, I'll just screw it. I'll do it by hand. So the problem with the China drag chains is they're not exactly the smoothest. So we're kind of getting around that by basically lubing the hell out of everything. Because it's PTFE grease, so it's non-reactive. I used to have this little wire brush that I would use for this kind of stuff. But we're going to have a good time anyway, so why not? Sean Jardine, 701 Canadian. Everyone's doing it. Oh, Lubel, PLN $5. Thank you, man. What is PLN? Polish? No, that's Euro. Toothbrush? I don't have a spare toothbrush. I might have a toothbrush. And this is what happens when the brother-in-law leaves his toothbrush here for 2 years. There we go. You only really need to lube up the parts where the wires actually run. Oop, did I miss one? No, I didn't miss one. PLN is Polish. Poland does not use the Euro? I thought you guys were in the EU. Huh. I could have sworn they were in the EU. Okay, guess not. Or unless it's like, oh wait, England isn't in the EU anymore. the wires. This is why you wear gloves. Okay, so come over here. PLN Polish Zloty. Oh. Okay. This is the only downside with these printed drag chain connectors is they're kind of not as strong as the injection molded ones. So that goes there, that goes there. All this can go up. Connect a few of these. Make sure I'm not pinching any wires. Go. Paper towels. Yes, I do have paper towels. Okay. Not all Euro countries use the Euro currency. Oh, okay. There you go. Learn something new every day. Always running input shaper. Always think the machine is going to rattle apart. I thought machines they run smoother with input shaper, don't they? At least I'm pretty sure mine does. I think. Okay. So, did I use the right one? Yeah, because this is the longer one. Yeah, this is the longer one. So this is for the Z. Okay, yeah, I used the right one. Okay, so that all goes there. Now, let me get some zip ties, regular ones. Turn this around so you can see what I'm working on. I will say it is nice to work on a Voron that doesn't weigh 50 pounds. Ooh, didn't pop up. E2Q number guy, $1. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Okay, so after you get your drag chains kind of your first start, and you can run, some people run wires from the bottom up. I personally run from the top down. That's just what I do. There's, the saying, there's a million ways to skin a cat. But you want to make sure nothing is pinching, nothing is catching. If you're running a Bowden setup, you really want to make sure none of the wires are sticking out of the back and are rubbing on the drag chain. That happened to me once when I was, really early in testing this. And what happened was some of the wires were sticking out, and it was actually catching on the drag chain as it was moving. But you can just kind of poke them all in, and since there's really no force on it, a zip tie is usually enough to kind of keep them from going on adventures. Okay, and you are going to want to make sure that at max Y, your chains aren't hitting the belt, right? You don't want them bumping into your belt, right? So just pull it tight, and basically that's where that's going to live at. So you can get your end piece, and you can kind of figure out where it's got to go. And then you got this little doodad, and that's going to hook on like that, and that's going to hide everything. So let me get this attached. Yep, that goes there. Take these gloves off so I can actually manipulate stuff with my hands. Nut. Oh, come on. Why aren't you going in your hole? There we go. Well, that's too long. Shorter one. Okay, so go there. Oop, too tight. Too tight. Okay, so right about there. Yeah. And just make sure that this cover plate will fit. Actually, there we go. So that right there, it actually indexes, for those that don't know. Right about there. So I'm just going to shift it over just so I have a little bit of playroom. And that will be it. You need to talk more like Bob Ross. Well, you see, you just take your wires and you just, you know, where the wires end up is where they end up. There's no accidents when it comes to running wires. It's just, I don't know. We're just building happy little printers here. I don't have enough hair to do Bob Ross, okay? Like, I'm losing my hair as is, so I can't channel Bob Ross without the Bob Ross hair. I'm sorry. It ain't the same. It ain't the same. So, I need another M3. Happy little wires. Happy little wires. Kenny Dog, $10. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Love your streams like always. What's your way of attaching the bed thermistor? On this one, it's stuck right to the bottom. It's a Mark 50, Mark 52, Mark 42. It's a Prusa Mark 3 bed. And I believe they just stick it to the bottom of the bed with Captain tape. So if that's how it comes from the factory, that's how mine is, because mine's pretty much stock. Let's go with silver. That goes there. I still can't believe I forgot to print that one piece. That is going to bug me for the rest of the night. Afro donation fund. No, see the problem is, see this? See this? See this? It was down here. At the beginning of the year. Yay, genetics. Okay, so we have the Y run done. And what you can do at this point is just kind of move it back and forth. Make sure everything moves. Make sure your wires aren't too tight in the chain. If they're too tight or too loose, they'll be rubbing either on the outer or the inner diameter. So we're good there. Now for Z height, because people ask what the Z height is. Basically, it really depends on how your belt is, right? So when you're at max Z, I'm going to be turning this around a lot now. So, get closer. So at max Z, as you can see, we are pretty much like you have like 2 millimeters of clearance between your drag chain and your belts. If your drag chain is running on your belts, you're going to have a bad time. So most of us limit the max Z to there, to like 230 or 240. So that way when the belts, the drag chain's moving, it doesn't bump on the belts, right? So if you got one of those big loopy drag chains, you might have to limit it to like there. It really depends on how your drag chains are. Now I know you can put the drag chains the different way around so that this side doesn't bend up like this. However, I'd rather have the little bit of extra freedom just to kind of promote wire longevity. So I'd rather just not have it as tight because it allows a slightly larger bend radius. That's just how I do it. It's a DIY printer. You can do it however you want. Okay, so now, why has Russian cat food not done a build on YouTube? That would be epic. Because he's doing his own thing, man. Not everyone wants to be in front of a camera. Like, he is on camera. Like, there are videos on his YouTube channel. And just, I don't know. Have to ask him. So I think it's this side I want to use. Yeah, because... Now, what I recommend for this side, though, for the coming down part of your drag chain, is to use the fixed side. So that would be, yeah, like that. Yeah. So this way... Don't use the big loopy side like how I started up here. Use the fixed side. So that way your chain isn't flopping back and forth. It stays vertical. I think it's... Or is it the other way? Yeah. Or yeah. You do the same thing. So that the fixed side is on the bottom. Because otherwise... See right here, it's vertical. So as it moves up and down, it stays vertical, right? Whereas if you have it the other way... What can happen is it'll flop out. Put it on so you can see here. Yeah. So if you have the floppy side on the bottom, it'll do this. You don't want that, right? You want it like this. So it stays vertical. It doesn't flop wherever. No floppy. Don't copy that floppy. Try not to break it. These are printed. Come on, come on, come on, don't break. There we go. Okay. For the wiring harness, would possibly use a common ground wire for both fans and end stops and probes. I think most of the, I'm pretty sure most of the controller boards, they function like for like controlling. They control off of the, I can't remember what the term is. They control off of the ground. So you can't need independent grounds. I think, I'm not 100% sure. Sad trombone cable chain noises. nose neck. Okay. So, put the gloves back on. Greasing time. Why can't send a super chat? Do I need it? Super chat. You just click the little money icon. And it's a money icon. I think mine. I just use credit card. Am I into RC at all? Not really. I have a drone. I bought a quadcopter. One of the ones where you wear the helmets and whatnot, like the an ish. Yeah, where is it? Yeah, it's right here. I have this guy. I bought this like 2 years ago or something, but it showed up like late in the year. The weather was crap, and I keep forgetting to put it together. Like I don't know. I've never flown it. It's just been sitting here. I have the like an entry level headset and whatnot for all that. I just never got around to hooking it up, setting it all up. Like I got to solder on the transmitter board and all that, but I never. Yeah. FPV quad, yeah. It's because I live in Canada. It has to be under, I think, 250 grams fully loaded, so it's only a 3-inch. But yeah, one day I'll take the time and actually set it up, but I don't have as much free time as I wish I did anymore. Yay, kids. And YouTube. I'm just gonna wait for all the comments on, well, I know I'm gonna get the comments. Why are you lubing up the wires? That's XXS dangerous, don't you know? Kids will eat into your time like no tomorrow. I know. Honestly, the first year wasn't too bad. Like the lack of sleep and everything, but the thing was, at that age, it's like, okay, you poop and you eat. I'm gonna go do stuff, sit here, and you can't move, just keep breathing and don't die. But now he's like, he'll be 3 in March, so it's like, okay, I have to entertain you. Oh shit, you get into stuff now, like, oh my god, get back here. Whereas before it was just like, it can't do anything. I just can't sleep. The grease is there to keep the dog hair off the floor. True dat. I have never lubed my wires. I do, just because they're PTFE or they're silicone wires, and I'm slightly worried about them. Well, I know what happens. I'm worried about them rubbing in the drag chains, because it is a thing. Okay. I put it on backwards. Where is my little one? Yeah, grease up the wrong side too. Dang it. My 3-year-old is awesome? Question mark. I'm Ron Burgundy. There we go. So what you do is you basically put the end piece for the drag chain on, you mount it, then you put your wires, you put like 1 or 2 through, you clamp them tight, and then you connect them to the end piece. There we go. And then what I do is I loop it as I clamp the rest, and this keeps everything on the bottom. It keeps the wires from getting in the way, so you don't accidentally, you know, pinch one. Because you don't want to accidentally, you know, crush a wire, not notice it, spend like who knows how much long trying to troubleshoot why your end stop isn't working, have to go through, double check everything, bust out the multimeter, tear everything apart, replace a wire. Is no bueno. That one on backwards. And there we go. Yeah, the first 18 months they are sleep deprivation. After that they get worse. Told until they hit the 30 and move out. Do you really think kids today are going to be able to afford to move out at any point in their life? That goes there. And then how does this one go? I'm not following the manual at this point because there's really no need. Oh, I see. That goes through there. Oh. That makes more sense. Okay, I gotta remove that screw. So I need M5 12, maybe? Yeah, M5 12 will work. Okay. So M5 12, putting the end piece on. Can you convert a CR10 to a Switchwire? You could. You may need to order some custom extrusions or modify some stuff in the design, but you could do that if you really wanted to. I know people have converted Enders, and let's be honest, all Creality printers are pretty much the same, so... Trying to put it on without snapping the printed plastic part. There you go. And there we go. Now what I'm probably going to do is this actually flops in a little bit. So I think what I did originally, on the top here. Let's see. So I bring it down. You can see how it's kind of flopping in, which isn't really that big of a deal. Like it's rubbing on the rail. What I'll probably do is probably put like a dab of Loctite or a super glue or something just to keep it from flopping all over the place and just make it rigid. Or I can honestly probably just put a zip tie on it or something to firm it up. But there we go. So that's our Y and Z runs done for our drag chains. I'm not pinching anything. So, ooh. Nothing's hooked up to anything, so I can do this without damaging anything. There you go. Your proofs it can't do this. Not that you would ever need to, but trade show piece. Okay. So that is that. Need more neon in the room for this track. Okay, so I was hoping, the big plan was during this break was I was going to build a bench all across here so that I could have, all the printers right across here. I'd have like the V2s here, the little ones over here. I was going to put in shelving here, and I was maybe going to run lighting or something. Like I was going to make it a whole thing, right? Because this window here, I can take out stuff and move it back and use it as a shelf. The problem is, I can't go anywhere and everything's shut down. So, yay. Okay, so let's put the bed on this guy now. So let me take a minute here to make some room. Put the grease away. Can I convert my microwave into an Ender 3? Yes, you can. You just have to believe. And don't believe in yourself, just believe in me, because I believe in you. In about 5 seconds, everyone who understands that reference is going to be like, oh. Find my Allen keys before I lose them all. It's too late, I've already lost them all. Oh, nope, got it. Can I convert my Honda Civic? Well, here's the thing. Your Honda Civic is already an Ender 3. You just don't know it yet. Okay. Clean my hands because I don't want to get grease all over the bed. Okay. So the bed. I already have the wires and everything on the bed. It's already running the drag chain and everything. So I'm going to leave that all as is. All I'm going to do is just swap out the printed parts because I'm going to try and reduce as much extra work as possible on this guy. So I'm going to have to swap that guy out too. Okay. Would you just look, what? Can I convert Johnny 5 into... No, because Johnny 5 is alive. Yeah, wait, you can't attribute that quote to me because it's from something else. But I love dropping it because every now and then you get somebody who knows what it's from and it's like, oh... So what the heck is the Nylock mod? I'm assuming you use Nylocks to adjust the bed, like, level. Use only the middle spacer and put Nylock nuts on the other 8. Yeah, okay, I can kind of see that. Why do I have... Oh, because that's got to go... Okay, I see. Oh, man, I forgot to put... God damn it. I'm done with heat sets. No, I'm not. Okay, so while we wait for that to heat up... Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do the nylock block, because honestly, before I just ran the 4 regular spacers in the corners and just did a bed mesh and let it do its thing, and I never had any issues. So I'm just going to keep it stock until I run into issues. That's always been my go-to. Plus, I don't have enough nylocks, I don't think. 5 a.m. here, time to go to bed. See you guys. Bonne nuit, Jean-Francois. Or bonne nuit, Jean-Francois. That workbench to my left. It's not Harbor Freight. I actually got it at Lowe's, but it is basically that same style of, you know, clap together steel frame that just kind of slots together. It wasn't too bad to have printers on it, but what I ended up doing though was, this. What I ended up doing was running a 2x4 across the back and attaching that to the frame and then bolting that to the wall, because right now it's like weeble wobbly. Yeah, I gotta put that on the wall still. There we go. Okay, and then also, so we have that. Put the zip tie in. Ooh, that's warm still. Ooh, that is warm still. Ow. Hot. Check your bed level, graphic, and fluid. Once you get it up and running, you'll see why people do the nylock. Oh, I'll check. Don't get me wrong, I'll check. But previously when I was running, I would just run the bed mesh and let the print go, and I never had any issues with level, like with first layers, so. But I never really checked. For those that don't know, like my whole stance on mods and whatnot is I try to avoid doing any modifications until I actually have the printer up. I notice a lot, especially in the 3DP community, a lot of people are very, they do stuff right off the bat just because some random guy on the internet said to. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, right? But you'll see a lot where somebody will be like, hey, I'm building this printer, and the first guy says, oh, you have to do this, this, and this, do it now. And they'll just go with it without knowing, without rhyme or reason, essentially. So I like to build things stock, and then if I run into issues, then I'll look into changing. Like, I ran into that with the bonsai. Right? I was putting the bed together, and I'm like, this doesn't line up. So I had to go through and change some stuff. But I do prefer to do things stock, especially on, like, you know, a standard thing. Like, you know, a Prusa bed's a pretty standard object. So I do try to do things standard at first. Plus, then you get a data point on it. Is this Switchwire rebuild of another printer or a scratch build? It is a it's the first of its kind. It's a Switchwire rebuild of a Switchwire. Because I built one from scratch, This is actually a rebuild, so this is still keeps serial. This is Switchwire number 2, the second one ever, outside of the lab. So RCF had Switchwire 1, essentially. Well, Switchwire 0. And Steve, I think, had Switchwire 1, I think. And then I have Switchwire 2 because I had to wait for the bed to come in from China. So I lost that. But NERQ hooked me up with an LDO frame and motors. So I'm rebuilding it with fancy new colors too. Plus everyone wanted to see me build one, so now I'm building one. Dance for the audience, dance. Okay, I'm trying to remember. So that's the one. Okay, so purple. Okay, so blue is the thermistor. And the end stop is there. Okay, so this part's kind of annoying. But essentially, you have to mount everything kind of all as one. So that's going to go there. So for your Y end stop, magnets, you're going to want to go ahead and zip tie your Y end stop right now to wherever it's going to be at, because that's where it's going to be at. And then also, you're going to need your spacers. Now, originally I only had 4. I literally just ran with 4. But let me see how many I got here. Do I have enough for all of them? I might. Oh, I do. Yeah, so I'm just going to run all of them. Screw it. So essentially what you're going to do is kind of drop everything on and hook it all up at once and screw it all together. And it's going to be fun, and you're going to wish you had 3 hands. That ain't going to work. I'm going to cut that one. Let me catch up on chat here. Nero's role is the guy who throws money at projects for RCF. Not quite as much as I used to, but basically I test stuff and provide design input. I'm going to need more of these guys. Where are my flatheads? Put one in the middle, and then the outer 4, and then the rest I can tune in by. Yes, it keeps the serial because it's still the same machine essentially, right? Like it's like the ship of Theseus basically. You only get a new serial if it's a brand new build or you convert versions. So for example, Tallboy is V2 579, right? But originally it was V1 100. But when I rebuilt it as a V2, it gets a V2 serial because now a V2. But that was it rebuilt, you know. V2 26 there was originally a V2.0, then a 2.1, then a 2.2, and now it's a 2.4. But it's still V2 26. Ugh, I hate this part. I hate this part. There we go. Okay, good enough. Good enough. Get those started. Ugh. Ooh, getting old sucks. Use your Allen key. Okay, so what I did there is completely goof up because I forgot I had to mount this, which I can't do right now. Right, I gotta take the bed off. Damn it. Take the bed off. I forgot to mount the retainer for the drag chain. When's Voron going public? It is public. It's just a bunch of guys designing stuff for fun. It's not a company. So it is open source, but development is mostly a select group. But once it's out there, you know you can take the cat and do whatever the hell you want with it. Thanks for showing us what not to do. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so... yeah, I forgot to do that. So, I got a hook. You go there. Okay. This would be easier for you guys because this isn't all assembled when you do it. I'm rebuilding and I'm being kind of lazy and redoing stuff that's already like assembled. So I'm trying to do it while stuff is assembled. Because YOLO or something, I don't know. Okay, so let's do this again. Brian B, $6.99. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for taking crap from us. No problem. If it bugged me, I would just turn the stream off. But then how will I get that dopamine response every time you guys subscribe, donate, or click the like button and I get that little pop-up on screen and the little jingle? It's all a game. Okay. We good? We good? Nothing's touching the bed. Cut zip tie. Don't I still remember the very first time I went to cut a zip tie and I cut a wire, and I had to rerun a wire through a whole drag chain. I was like, mother... Stuff happens, it sucks. Okay, so that's good there. So here's the trick for putting your bed on when you're using fixed spacers, right? Because they just float, right? You have to put the screw on. What I do is I put all of them on, but I only put screws in the 4 outer corners and the middle. And what I do is I put the bed down slowly on an angle and basically line everything up, put it down, get these 5 screws started, and then get a pair of like tweezers or pliers, and then you can, because the bed's loose right now, you could just kind of line up the other ones and put a screw through them. Because everything's got some float to it, right? There we go. Okay, let me catch up on chat. Will I have to adjust my config to the new LDO steppers? They're still 1.8, so I should be okay in that regard. I might have to just adjust the voltage. That would probably be the only thing I have to tweak, is just motor voltage, which is just a config change. And then, as always, go around and just snug up all the screws and then go around and tighten all the screws. I guess be careful, it's a PCB bed, don't stab it while you're doing this. So Wage, I'm going to argue against that because the only thing they really have is a better cooling, which we do have modifications for the Toolhead for better cooling. Motion system wise, it's a completely different motion system. Yeah. Plus, an ABS benchy in 10 minutes is going to be garbage no matter what, because you're going to have crap layer quality because of so much cooling. Okay, there we go. Bed's on. So let me pop this guy off. If I can get it to pop off. There we go. Because this is the little cover for the high voltage, well, not high voltage, but 24 volt. Let's put the orange one on. If I can get it to go on. This is stiffer plastic, so come on, get on. There we go. There we go. It's on. Okay, what's next? What's next? I think I just have this guy. And this guy mounts to there. So I'm going to have to flip this on its side. So yeah, I think I need to put one more zip tie in. Put a dab of grease to hold the spacers in the frame. Yep, a dab of grease will do that. I was tempted to do, if this wasn't going to work, I was going to use nail polish. Deeper, the China steel plate. My plate came, it's a Triangle Labs plate. I didn't have any issues with it. And like the finish on it's pretty good. Let's put in one more zip tie on this. all the zip ties. You don't want your wires dragging. There we go. Okay. So at this point, I got one more of these. I forgot to print an end cap. Oh no, I could just reuse this. That's right. These are using the actual like factory end caps. I find this part's just easier to do on its side. Yeah, I wish I had the LDO plate, but I just have the generic black Triangle Labs one because LDO wasn't available in Canada at the time. This was back in, I don't know, during the summer. Do I have one more small zip tie? Please tell me I do. I do. Okay, let's see here. So right now, for those that don't know, this is what I'm putting on, is if you look, I already have the so I've already mounted this part right here. And right now I'm mounting this part right here. Which is actually different in the CAD from what I have, but whatever. But yeah, so I'm putting this part on right now. It's just kind of a crappy angle to show it off. Worst part about the Molex. So for the Molex connectors, if you are fine with using the China Molex connectors, you can buy like packs of like the 4-pin, the 5-pin, the 2-pin, the 3-pin individually, and they come with like the pins, whatnot. So what I did was I bought like 30 of each size. I think it's like $10 or $12 Canadian for each size, and then I just put them in a little husky case and made my own kit. The only thing is the plastic that they use for the connectors gets brittle after a while. So what ends up happening is if you like certain connectors that you lock and unlock a lot, the tab might break off. But as long as you don't plan it, like, I don't know, I've been using them for years. I haven't had any issues with them other than, you know, the tab breaking off occasionally. Okay, so line that up. So that's going to go right about there. Now I need some more. And that'll do. Yeah, Molex isn't cheap, but they're good. Don't get me wrong. So there we go. So that is the bed and the drag chain installed. We are good there. I may have to flip this motor. I may have to spin this motor around. Done with me on an adventure. See the wire coming out there? It's hitting the drag chain where the wire comes out. I may have to spin this motor and have the wire come straight up. Or you know what? That's why. That's why. So if you look on here, this one's spaced out more. Because on these ones, the wires come straight up. But originally, I didn't have that issue. Let me... There's updated parts to fix that. Okay, so I will probably swap out the parts then. Yeah. Dang it. Yeah, because that ain't gonna fit. Yeah, in the CAD they have the connector up. So I can always just spin it. I don't want the wires coming up. That looks ugly, in my opinion. Because before I had them going inboard, it wasn't an issue, but it was, the motors were, like the wires were just the stepper on line motors, right? So they, you know, they could go, they just go smush right against it, right? No problem there. So that wasn't an issue before, but these have connectors on the motors. So I guess that is an issue. Frame side and Y carriage, just 2-part. Wrong button. Yeah, this part's different and that part, so the whole thing is shifted. So either I have the wire come up or I reprint these 2 parts and move the bed. Dang it. I'm gonna have to reprint those. Okay, so I'll reprint those. But what time is it anyways? Yeah, it's 11:12. So it's the end of the stream anyways. So I have to reprint 3 parts, it looks like. So let me just kind of stuff everything down underneath. So we can get a look at what this will look like. No, I'll fix the parts once they're printed. Like I won't do that on stream. So that way next stream is all under the hood stuff. So let me shove some parts under here. Or actually no, let me not do that because I'm going to have to pull them right back out. So, you need a look at the printer though. So there we go. Bed on. Voila. So that's about as far as we're going to go for today. I got to update some printed parts. And then, yeah. So I can't really go any further because I'm going to have to rip it apart if I go further. Those black parts better be gone. Well, there's only the one. I can't replace the other one. I don't have the STL for it. Plus, you don't see it right now anyways. It's a legacy part. I always try to keep one part from the original setup on the printer. For example, this guy still has a boated inlet back from back when it was a V2.0. So I try to keep one part from the original build in every iteration. Just because, why not? That way I'm not fully replacing the printer. And then the knob right here is transparent. That's why I kind of kept it. So I don't have transparent orange. Oh, Steve sent me the STL. Okay, maybe I will do it then, Steve. yeah, so I'll take some pictures of it and post them online on my Twitter. So if you're not following me at 3DP Nero, follow me on Twitter. You can see some pictures of this. I'll probably post them on the Discord too. So as always, while I clean up, I'll leave the stream running. So open floor, we'll chit chat while I'm cleaning up. So I'll probably call the stream in about 15 minutes. 11:30 sounds like a good time. So extra part, extra part, extra part. Don't need these. Garbage. Garbage. Gloves. Go there. Your screws. You can go up there. What is the advantage of corexz Z versus a normal Cartesian? It's cheaper. So on a good Cartesian, you have 2 Z motors and 1 Y motor. For this, you only need 2 motors. You need the XZ motors, or correction, you need 2 Z, 1 X. This, you only need the XZ motors, so 2 motors, so save a motor. Integrated lead screws are expensive compared to this setup. The actual BOM materials, when you consider the entire XZ motion assembly, is much less than just buying 2 integrated lead screws steppers. Plus, then you don't need to worry about any of the other stuff. Like, it's just bearings. It's a cheaper setup. You don't have to worry about lead screw wobble at all because there are no lead screws. That's a pretty common issue with traditional lead screw driven printers. And your Z is super fast, which a lot of people don't think it's a thing, but if you run Z hop a lot, like I do, Z hop will eat up time. And when you can do Z hop at 100 millimeters a second, or you can run your Z as fast as you could run your X or Y on a corexz Z, put it that way, or a corexz Y printer. So plus you can do like this. Can't do this on a Prusa. Oh. Best Jewel pod flavor you're looking forward to? I don't vape, bro. Are all Voron parts are pre-compensated for ABS? Correct. So would you get tolerance issues if going MJF? Are those on if you download the STLs, those are designed for printing with ABS parts. There's not like a formula we run everything through. Like right now, if you look at the CAD data, this CAD right here, if you were to pull everything out of this out of this CAD and print it, it would be like the same thing as just downloading the STLs, right? It's just over the years, there's kind of like a set of rules that are followed for designing parts for ABS in terms of clearances and design size and whatnot, and just trial and error. So there's not like a set formula everything gets run through to make it compensated for ABS. It's just everything's designed with ABS in mind. What cable sleeves do you recommend? I use some random ones I had on Tallboy. Yeah, if you just like, I just use cheap ones, just cheap whatever. I think like 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch or 5/8. I can't even remember. Like, I bought them a while ago. Timothy, you'll get it one day. How fast do you think you can print a Benchy on a Switchwire? We are gonna find out, because I have all those Speed Benchy G codes saved. So we're gonna have some fun. Actually, let me see. Is that the right one? No. Yeah, that's definitely old ones. Yeah, I'll print off the new ones. Yeah, that looks pretty good, I think. I'm happy with the way the colors turned out. I gotta get a new tool bench under here. Speed Benchy and TPU. I have yet to print any flexible filament. Like, it's on my list of things to buy. It just, I need a reason to get it. And not just, oh, I just want to see how I can print it. Like, I try to avoid buying stuff that I don't think I need, or without a valid reason. So I don't need that part. That was a waste of the limited orange plastic that I have. Dang it, I'm gonna have to use some of it for that piece that I'm missing. Crud. Canada uses inch instead of centimeter, millimeter. We use both. We're like literally like the States is like out my window. So pretty much when it comes to inch or millimeter, like it depends. Like I am, you know, I am 5'10". I weigh 180 pounds, but like my car goes 100 kilometers an hour, and Toronto's 400 kilometers away. Like we use both. Like you go to Home Depot, all the wood's in foot, an inch. But yeah, like all the machines at my shop are all in inch. Everything we do on the shop floor is in inch, but the tools are designed in metric. So it's all over the place. Like I live Southern Ontario too, so like I'm more Americanized than a lot of Canadians. Do you need belts to retension after some use? Yes, so what I recommend is basically build your printer up, tension your belts, run it for like a week or so, and then retension your belts again. Because usually the belts kind of, they need another snug up after like a break-in period, essentially. Which it doesn't need to be that long, just a few heat cycles. So print a couple things and then retention them after like a weekish. Do you think an American company could do what Prusa did, but with the Voron lineup, something similar? Probably not. Like a Voron, like the cost of a Voron is like what, $1,000 to $1,500. That was pre-COVID. Most people are spending honestly around $1,500 for even the smaller size Vorons, because you got to buy all the other stuff too. But the thing is, that is not counting for any of your time, right? Like how many streams did it take me to build my V2, right? To build Tallboy, that was like what, 6-7 streams. So how many man hours is that at, you know, factor in minimum wage, plus you got to factor in profit. Plus, you got to factor in all the other stuff, you know, time to make all the printed parts and everything. So if you were to buy a Voron, like from a store, it's like a $4,000 to $5,000 printer minimum, which there's already there's already markets for that already. So trying to jump into that market, ugh. It's like R3D in the data list. I wish him luck. I wish him all the best of luck. But that is a tough market to break into. So I hope things go well for him. Plus, none of us in the dev team want to go into creating a company and dealing with all the headaches of that. So, where's the manual? It's in the, go on the Voron Discord under the Switchwire questions channel. It's pinned in there. Right now, it's still in beta. It's just put out there so, you know, people can look at it and make sure there's nothing that needs to be corrected and updated. There's a few minor things in it that are wrong. And then the final version will be pushed on the website probably in a week or two. Which one's your favorite 2.4? I got a soft spot for the V2s. Do I see the same gap in the market? So, Canderman, the thing with that gap in the market, I think that is a gap in the market, but is it a market worth chasing? Because you got to remember, under $1,000, everyone's going to buy an Ender 3, right? Go on R3DP. The 3D printing subreddit, go to the questions like, which printer should I buy? Everyone wants a dirt cheap printer. What is the best printer I can buy for $200? What is the best printer I can buy for $300? What is the best printer I can buy for $250? Everyone's looking for the cheapest printer, or the vast majority of people are. So, and then it's like, okay, I want a better printer. Okay, get a Prusa. Okay, so what's above a Prusa in terms of that? There's how many people need above a Prusa in terms of like a good, reliable, out of the box, I just want to print, I don't want to build a printer. It starts getting small, and then all of a sudden that market becomes, hey, I run a company, I need 24/7 support, I need industrial levels of quality and reliability. Boom, there's your Ultimakers, MakerBots, and all those other ones, plus, you know, schools and whatnot. So that there is a market there. It's just a very narrow market, and it's going to be a very finicky market, I think. So, ETA on Toasty Boy. I got to build this guy, finish it. I actually have to talk to a few people this weekend. If you're watching, you may know who you are. Because I got to get a... I got to start getting stuff ordered for that, because I got to get stuff in before Chinese New Year. So, Toasty Boy is probably going to be the springtime project. Late winter, early spring project, because we got this guy, and then there's also the Ender 3 that I have on the way, because I have an Ender 3 V2 on the way, because yeah, we're going to have some fun with that. And no, I'm not doing a Switchwire conversion on it. At least not for a long time. We are going to have some fun with an Ender 3. Why an Ender 3? Because Banggood wanted to send me an Ender 3. Well, actually, no. They asked me what they would want to send me, and Ender 3 was the best I could get. So make sure you click those links below and buy stuff through my affiliate link with Banggood so I can earn more good credit so they can send me stuff. Getting some review action. Yes, I am becoming big professional YouTuber. I'm not gonna, okay, honestly, you cannot build a better printer for the price, honestly. Like, you don't, the cost to performance of an Ender 3 V2, you can't beat it. Like, I'm sorry, but the vast majority of people don't need, you know, they don't need that. That is awesome, but the vast majority of people, honestly, think about it. How many hobbies are there that people get into, they buy all the stuff, and then they quit after a year? The Ender 3 is a good option for those that are like, hey, I think I want to get into this hobby. I don't want to spend a lot of money. And we are going to beat the absolute hell out of it. You know we are going to beat the absolute hell out of it. Plus, like, so many people buy them. I kind of want to get my hands on one so I can actually offer advice to people who have them. Well, Fance, your name makes me having a list not fun. But, yes, I am in my basement, so. Ender 3 speed bench. Oh, we're going to clipperize it at some point. But yeah, the Ender 3 will be an absolute, like, I am going to beat the hell out of it. So I think I'm going to call it there. I'll get the parts printed, swapped out during the week, and then I will go ahead, and next week we will be putting all the junk in the trunk under the hood. Ryan B, nice not to be labeled a Voron. I have the Bonsai. I have a non-Voron printer. Ish. But yes, I am trying to actually like branch out into more generic 3D printing, like not just Voron stuff. Because as awesome as Voron is, it's only one printer. There's many different printers out there, right? So let me buy that switch. No, this is my Switchwire. Alberto, if you built a bonsai, it is lacking quite a bit, so. But it is a nice little design. Like, it's basically a scaled down Prusa, essentially. But yeah, so I'm going to call the stream now because it's like 11:30 now, and I try to keep these at 3 hours. And as always, we go over, although the last two actually kept to 3 hours. So anyways, thank you all for joining me tonight. I hope you found this informative. I hope you were entertained. I hope I provided good background noise while you did your laundry or whatever. People listen to this for a lot of different reasons, apparently. So, make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you are not subscribed. If you are new and this is the first stream, welcome. Make sure you ring the bell so you get all the notifications and everything. If you like this, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you got any questions of anything you saw on the stream, if you're watching it later, just ask them below. I try to keep track of those and answer as many as I can. For those that have asked questions before, you know I try to answer as many as I can. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at 3DPNero. I'll post some pictures of this guy. And I try to post something every other day. Just try to keep the community informed. Any stream updates as well. I stream Saturdays at 8 p.m. Usually that's my standard stream night. Sometimes I try to manage to get a weekday stream in there when I can. And next week we will be doing the electronics. So if you'd like to help support the channel, there are links below, affiliate links, and then also my Patreon. If you would like to join, go ahead. I throw random stuff up on there to kind of incentivize it a little bit. You can also become a YouTube member and subscribe as well through that. So I hope you all had a great new year. This year ahead should be fun. This channel has grown way more than I thought it would and is growing faster than I thought it would right now. The little algorithm is kind of apparently treating me pretty well right now, so I can't complain. So I hope you all have a great year. Hope you were entertained tonight. Be safe out there. Wash your hands. Have a good day.